Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, you will learn how to create an interactive 360-degree virtual tour using the H5P Virtual Tour activity in Moodle. Here you can see the learners are able to move around in this warehouse. They can click on the icons and it will display some information for them. As they move around, there are different icons they can click on and it will display information. The same here, you can use various backgrounds. They click on the link and it will display either text, audio, video, images. You can also include questions, also summaries, and they can also jump from one scene to the next. This video will cover all of that, so let me show you how this is done. We will use the topic hazard identification and risk control to demonstrate how to build a realistic immersive learning experience, one where learners explore a simulated work environment, identify hazards, and assess risks. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to upload a 360 image, add text, audio, and video, and connect multiple scenes to create a seamless virtual learning journey. Now to begin, let's log into your Moodle site, go to the course where you want to add the activity, and then make sure that editing is turned on. Go to Add an Activity or Resource, select Interactive Content H5P, scroll down to where you see the Virtual Tour 360. I'll click on that and it will open here. First we need to add a title, so I'll call this My Factory Floor. Now first we need to create a scene. You'll see that it says here no scenes. Click New Scene button below to add the first scene. So I'll click on New Scene and immediately this opens. We will use a 360 image and not a static image. Remember, you can also use a static image. I'll give it a name. I'll call this the Factory Floor. So this will be our first scene, and now we need to add a background image. For this background image, I'll use the Nano Banana. So I'll go to Google AI Studio and then click on the link. So this is Google AI Studio, and we are going to use the Nano Banana image generator. I'll click on that. And now we need to add a prompt here. So the prompt is in the description of this video. So if you want to follow along, use that prompt. So here's a simple prompt. So I just want a 360-degree panoramic image of an industrial factory floor with visible machinery and so forth. Okay, I'll click on Run. Okay, so there's my image. I'll download this image. So there you'll see it's downloaded. I'll go back to my Moodle site. I'll then click on Add and then upload that particular image that we've just downloaded. So there's our image. We can give an image description here. Now the button style, decide how buttons pointing to this scene look. For scenes that are static, it does not lead to the next scene. We recommend more information button. Okay, so we can select either an arrow, more information for static. Okay, so let's leave it on scene arrow. We can add an audio track, but we'll leave that for now. I'll click on Done, and there you'll see there's our image, and we can already move around within this particular image. So this is our first scene. And now we can set a starting point. Where do you want users or students to start? So I like this view, so I'll set this as my starting position. and it marks it as the starting position. So each time the activity is open, the learners immediately will see this view. Let's start by adding learning elements. You'll see at the top here, you'll see that there's a go to next scene, there's text, there's image, there's audio, there's video, there's a summary, as well as a single choice. We'll start with the text. So you can click on that menu item and it will open this dialog box. The first option here is to add a label. So you can either leave this blank or you can add a label. So let's type in the hazards, and then the label settings. You can determine the label settings, the label position. You can specify right aligned, left aligned, top aligned, and bottom aligned. And you can specify the display label. So that's the position and that's the display label. So it can either show or hide. And then the text, you can add the text that you want to display to students. If you're done, you can click on done, and this will add this label here. Now you can drag this label by hovering over it and then dragging it to where you want to place it. So I'll add it somewhere here, and when you release your mouse, you'll see that this will stay there. If we should save this now, save and display, you'll see immediately there's our label. It starts where we set the starting point, and once the student clicks on this, you'll see that the text becomes visible. If you want to go back, you can click on settings, and we're back in our editing state. If you want to remove this, you just click on the name. You'll see there's two icons appear. There's a pencil icon to edit, and there's a delete icon. So you can either delete or edit this. If you want to edit it, you can go back to this dialog box and make some modifications and then click on done. So that's the text. Now we can also add an image. So let's move around, and here you'll see there's spools. So let's click on the image there. Again, you can add a label. So let's say this is high voltage, and now we want to add a high voltage image. So let's go back to Nano Banana and ask him, okay, generate a high voltage sign. Let's just run this. Okay, so there's a high voltage sign. Let's download this. Go back to our course. Let's add that image. Upload that. And there's our high voltage sign. We can high voltage, and this is really important that you add your alt text here for learners with accessibility issues. So let's do that and assist them. Also the hover text, you can add hover text. This is when you hover over the image, it will show you the text. I'll click on add, and I'll move this somewhere to where there's high voltage area. So let's there. Okay, so once we save this, there's our first one, our second one. When they click on that, you'll see the image that we've just generated, high voltage. So I'll click on close. I'll go to settings again, and then I'll scroll down. So that was our image. Then we can add audio. So let's say you want learners to listen to an audio track as they move around. So let's say you want to add an audio track there. You click on the audio icon, give it a label, and then upload the audio. So for the label, I'll just call this proper control measures. I'll then click on select an audio file and upload the file. I'll just upload my audio file. So there's my audio file, and then I can click on done. So I can move this to where I want to add it, and they can start listening to that particular audio track. The next one is a video. So we can also add video. So let's say you want them to pause here and listen and watch the video. Click on the video icon. Give it a label name. This is also proper control. And then we can give it a title. So I usually copy and paste the title there. I can set the labels. Let's add the video source by clicking on upload. You can also add a link to your YouTube video or your Vimeo video. You can add the link there if you have a video, but you can also upload it. If it's a large video, please don't upload it. Rather embed it by pasting the link here. For the purpose of this video, I'll upload a video. So I'll have my video there. So I'll just upload my particular video. So there we go. Now we can also add visuals like a poster for that particular video that it doesn't display this black screen here. You can upload that. Let's do that. I'll add, and I'll just add an image here of this user. Okay, so there's our poster. I can fit video to player. I can show the video controls. I can, under playback, I can autoplay the video, or I can loop the video. Under accessibility, I can add track. I'm happy with that, so I'll just click on done. So there's my video. I'll just move it. Let's save this now. So there's my two text areas. There's my audio. And there's my video. So I'll click on that, and now it starts playing the video. It shows the poster, and now it will start playing the video. I'll close this, go back to settings. Now we've bombarded them with information here, text, image, audio and video. It's time now to test their knowledge. So for that we'll use the summary icon here. So let's just move to this area here. I'll click on summary. You'll see this dialog box. We can add the label. So let's call this knowledge check. We can play with the label settings, either the position or the display, the label. We can add a title here. So let's call this knowledge check again. And then the introduction text. Choose the correct statement. Let's leave it on that, but you can change this. Let's just make it bold. And then you can start adding your statements. Remember, the first statement is always correct, okay, as it's stated there. So the first statement is always correct, and the statements thereafter are incorrect. So under the introduction text, you can also add the question. So I'll place it here. What is the purpose of hazard identification? So now I can place my statements, identify potential harms, which is the correct option. The second one is increase productivity. And then if you want to add another statement, you can just click on add statement and you can paste your statement in there. You can also add tips. So if you have a tip for the students to follow, you can add the tip here, or you can add another statement. If you want to provide feedback based on scoring, you can add this feedback here. Once you're done, you can click on done. So there's our knowledge check. Let's test that. I'll save and display. Now let's move around, and there's our knowledge check. So here, choose the correct statement. What is the purpose of hazard identification? And here you need to select one. So let's choose that one, and you'll see I've scored correct, and I can go close it. Let's go to settings. Now for our final knowledge check, let's use the single choice set. I'll click on that and it opens this dialog box. This will be our knowledge check true. I'll copy that and I'll paste it here. And then for our question, we need to ask a question and then give alternatives. So this is my question, and I'll make it bold. My first option, my second option, I'll add another answer. That's my third one, and that's my last one. Now you'll see that the first alternative is the correct one. So since this one is the correct one, I need to move this up. So how do I move this up? You'll see that there's an order item up or order item down. You can click on up, again up, so that this will become our first option. So there's our first option. And now we can provide another question. But if we don't want to add another question, you can click on remove item and it will remove that particular item. So we're left with one question. If we scroll down, we can add a question, we can add feedback, we can also change the behavioral settings. Enable sound effects, enable retry button, enable show solution button. So I'll move up and I'll click on done. And now let's move the knowledge check to, I'll move it to the end, just after the first knowledge check. Okay, there we go. So I'll do it there. Okay, so let's save it. Let's see. Okay, so we're going through that and that. Our first knowledge check is done. Let's do our second knowledge check. So which is the most effective control measure? So let's select elimination and you'll immediately see that that is correct, 1 out of 1. If you have more questions, you'll see that this blue bar moves till the end. And you'll see that the score increases as well. The more questions you have, the more the total will be. You can close this, and there we're done. Now once they've completed the second knowledge check, I want them to move to a different scene. So let me show you how that is done. Let's go to settings again, and we need to add a new scene. So by adding a new scene, we click on new scene. It asks us what type of scene do we want to add. Again, a 360 image, and then we can add a scene title. But let's go back to Nano Banana and then just generate a new scene. And this is a 360-degree panoramic image of a factory control room with computers. So let's see what the AI comes up with. Okay, so there's our image. I'll download this. I'll go back to my course. I'll upload that image. So I'll just upload that image. And we'll call this is our control room. Okay, so let's just see what it looks like. Click on done. So there's our control room. Okay. There we go. So now we can set a starting point. So let's set the starting point as this, and we can start adding elements. So let's click on save. Now you'll see that we can't go to that particular scene. We've added the scene and it's there already, but there's no indicator to go to that particular scene. We need to add the item. So let's go back to settings. Then on our area here, we want to place the go to next scene next to the knowledge check. So I'll click on that. I can specify a label. So this will be our control room. I can specify the label settings. And you'll see that immediately it picks up my control room there. Pick an existing scene to go to. So we can click on this, or we can create a new scene from here. I'll select that and I'll click on Done. So I'll move that to here, and then I'll save it. So let's go, we go through our content, and there you'll see when I click on that, it will jump to my control room. And now I can start adding elements here as well. Audio, video, text, image, a summary, or questions wherever I want to, or whatever I want to add here. Now you also want to add a jump to scene to the first scene. So when they're done with the interactions here, they can go to the first scene and so forth. And that is how easy it is to create a 360-degree virtual tour in Moodle using H5P. Try building your own. You can actually adapt this, what we've done today, to any content type you like. So if you found this tutorial useful, please like and subscribe and share this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next Moodle tutorial on eLearning portal.